Konnichiwa. Okay, you guys have chosen to make the lantern card. So that's going to take a rubber stamp that looks like this, some ink, some watercolor pencils, and what I call an Aqua painter. So it's a brush that's got water in the handle. Okay, so there's a few options. Think first about how you want your card to look before you get started. So think about what materials you're going to need. You could stamp onto a small piece of card and put it onto a background before putting it onto your card base. So it kind of frames it and looks quite pretty. I would trim that to make all the sides match. So I'd very carefully cut that nice and straight so it looks like that. Or you could stamp just directly onto a card and then just paint it directly onto the card. So there's a few, think about how you want it to look. Let me show you first of all how to stamp correctly. So everyone will need to be that you are sharing the rubber stamp. The ink I have given you is a waterproof ink so that we can paint on it and it won't smudge. Take care with this ink not to get it on your clothes or anyone else. Wash off your hands eventually, but avoid getting it on your hands. So to open it, it's a clever little lid that flips all the way around and it stands nicely by itself. To ink this up, don't go smushing it down really hard onto the ink pad because you're going to make a mess of your. What you want to do is hold the bottom of the ink pad and keep it steady, and then tap. Just tap your stamp onto the ink and check underneath to make sure that it's all covered with ink. I'll just do a little bit more for the middle. Okay. Then close the ink pad. That's how we don't get it on our artwork where we don't want it to go. And then when you press it down, just push it straight down. We're not going to go from side to side. Push it straight down for a few seconds, bit of pressure and off, and there you go. You've got a perfect stamp. So saying not to put too much on. If you go smushing the stamp onto the ink pad from side to side, you're going to get ink all around the edges here, and when you press that down onto the paper, that's likely to show up as well, and you're going to get smudges on your artwork that you don't want. So just take a bit of care when you are inking it up and stamping it on the paper. So once you've got your stamped image with the watercolor pencils, just as you would use normal pencils, but actually you can be a little rougher and messier because we're going to use the Aqua painter pen to make it look more painty. All right, so with your Aqua painter, just take the brush off carefully, and you can feel on your skin that it's a bit wet. If it isn't wet, give it a little squeeze, and you can see the water will start to move. Whoops, and there it starts to drip. We don't want it to drip. That's too much. All right, so if you think it's too much, wipe off a bit on your hand or on scrap paper. You should have scrap paper on your desk, so you can wipe it off on the scrap. All right, and then now when I'm doing watercolor, I think it looks nice to be a little bit messy because it looks more like paint than pencil. So I like to go out of the lines. That's just me, you don't have to. So that's it. That's how the Aqua painter and watercolor pencils work if you haven't used it before. Again, on scrap paper, when you're changing between colors, just get rid of some of that pink before you go on to your next color. All right, so if you've painted up your design and you're ready to, if you want to mount it, so you use some glue stick to stick it onto a base, and then you can put it again with some more glue stick onto your card, and it's ready for a lovely heartfelt message. Okay, good luck with that one, guys.